you want the ultimate challenge to show your skill in the automation campaign? Probably not, but I'm here to show you how to do it anyway. Back in the Al-Rilma update video, I said that the 100x difficulty multiplier was probably impossible to reach. Well, it turns out that's not true, because I missed a major difficulty category. It's possible to reach the maximum in-game score multiplier 100 times your base points and still play the game. But it's much more difficult than it was before. It's a true serious challenge. So we can see the score multiplier down here is obviously used to multiply the score you get for each car you sell in the game, and it's basically a descriptor of the difficulty of your campaign playthrough, where a higher number is more difficult. And as I've obviously said, the absolute maximum this can hit is 100 times the score multiplier. After that, you can keep adding more settings, but it won't go up any higher. It's a hard cap. So we can see the easiest, we have it to the casual difficulty preset in Gasmea, because the company makes a difference. The score multiplier is 0.01, or 1/100th. So we're going to get 10,000 times as difficult as that. The hardest preset is Insane, which isn't super hard to actually play, despite the name. In Gasmea, it gets us a 1.79 times multiplier, but the smaller and poorer countries have higher multipliers, with Archana being the hardest. Not only does it have limited markets to sell to, you also will be at a technology disadvantage in the early game. If your company is based in Archana, you get a negative technology multiplier. But that's only a 7 times multiplier, so we have to go to custom settings to make it even harder. First off, we need no money at all. Now, if I were to start the game as is, I would go bankrupt immediately. And that's only a 19 times multiplier. Well, how do you start the game with no money? It's pretty hard because you have a headquarters to pay for now. So every month that goes by, you're spending at least $50,000. But what you can do is start with plots of land, a small plot for your cars, and a small plot for engine factories. And we can even throw in a micro-sized factory as well. Once we have these, we'll have some company valuation at the start of the game, which allows us to take out a loan. And that loan is how we'll get our company off the ground. It has to pay for everything, though. Keep in mind, the cash value of these land plots depends on which company you're in, with Archana being worth the least. Naturally, competition will be at 150%. That means that the desirability of each competitor car, which is ultimately a raw number for each market, this gets multiplied by 50%, giving them a big advantage. We'll also max out the market desires slider. That means that the secondary desires on each market are more important. We'll talk about that later. Extreme market volatility gives us a slight more difficulty. Of course, we're not starting with any car dealerships. Oh yes, and regulations. Emissions are going to go up 5 years sooner. Safety standards are going to be 5 points higher. And engine capacity taxes are going to be doubled. That only leaves us one slider, engineering time. This also goes up to 150%, which is crippling. But even that is not a 100 times multiplier. If I take off these land plots, I won't be able to take out a loan that's big enough to build my first car. I'll go bankrupt. Well, here's the category I missed. Your base tech pool starts at 0 on Insane, meaning you have no advantage for each category, and frankly putting you behind the AI companies, which usually have 3 to 5 points in every category. We're going to go -2 for every single category. That means that if you want to pay the base price for every part on the car, We have to be setting everything to -2 quality. It also means we unlock every feature 2 years late. And that's going to be an albatross that follows us through the entire campaign. Our company is just bad at making cars, and there is no fixing it. Remember, R&D gets very expensive as you add points, and we'll be spending tens of millions of dollars just to be at the baseline. And we'll probably never afford to have the same tech pool as the AI companies have. And then they get that bonus desirability on top of it. But that's not quite enough, so we need a couple more negative points somewhere. We'll -3 on exhaust. And that makes a 100 times score multiplier. Congratulations on starting 100x, baby! You've opted to start 100x, baby, without inheriting either a car or engine factory. I think that's wrong to have a miniature factory. The text for that must be bugged. So, what we have to do is figure out what market we're going to try and sell our car to. Because we have not very much money and a very small factory, and no money to build a bigger factory, we're going to have to make a lot of money per car. At the start of the game, in Archana, the poor Russia-like country, you can only sell 2 Archana and Deluha. There's an iron wall between us and the rest of the world. Deluha has a lot more money. If we look at their budgets, Grand Touring Premium has an average budget of almost $100,000 per car, and Luxury Premium can spend over $300,000 on a car, although they're unlikely to actually do that. Now, I made a couple attempts at this already, and what I found was the easiest was to aim for Grand Touring. Now, you'll notice our negative quality also affected our body unlock here. Even though it's 1946, the newest bodies we could make are from 1942. And then, there are no bodies from 1942, only from 1940. We have to scroll down here. In fact, I probably should have given myself 0 in bodies and something else more negative, because this makes it very hard. Ooh, which one? Let's try... They like big cars. The 1936 mod body here. Or maybe the 1937 mod body. It has a 3-meter wheelbase, it's a big car. That's what Deluha likes. I don't think that roof window is a sort of curvature you can make in 1936, but just ignore it for now. So, our company has a base of -2 tech pool, and then our country has another -2 tech pool. That country tech pool will get closer to 0 as we enter the modern day, and there's more freedom of technological exchange. But right now we just suck. And that means that a 0 quality chassis slider costs us as much as a +4 quality slider would in a normal game where you have 0 tech pool. In other words, we can't afford it. Now, even though we're making a super expensive, nice car, because of the sheer engineering time involved, I have to go probably a couple points of negative quality on this. And that's going to be a pattern we'll see throughout the whole design here. As for the car itself, heavy-duty ladder or space frame are both valid choices. I'm going with heavy-duty ladder because it's a little easier to engineer, it's simpler, and we get familiarity with it because of our country. If you want to make a serious premium car in the early game, double wishbone is your only choice for suspension. And aluminum's our only choice for panel material because we don't have steel presses. We can't get them without a medium-sized factory and basically about $300 million. I'm using a black color because it's nice to look at, but I'm not going to do any serious work on designing this car because I might go bankrupt, and also the tires are poking through. I'll explain this in a little more detail when we get to the marketing screen. I think my best choice by far... Well, I really have 2 choices. I could go for a V12 or a more extreme V16. That is DLC you have to pay for. You might not have it, so I'm going to go for the V12 with basic overhead valves, and as you can see, the engineering time on this is absolutely insane. I'm going to go all the way to -4 quality just to get this viable to produce at all. We won't have to do that for most of it, though. Another nice thing we have access to is we're trying to sell this car to Daluha. We can use a gasoline that's only available there, 110 octane aviation fuel. That is for airplanes. Other than that, I'm going to give this engine a very mild tune. If you're trying a 100 times difficulty challenge, I assume you kind of know what you're doing. So I'm only covering the broad strokes of what I'm doing here. Okay, I've just gone through the designer and turned on all our graphs. I still have to tune the car. But let me show you what I'm aiming for a bit here. First, I have to choose my nation to Daluha in the market screen here, or it won't tell me anything. Because if I'm choosing Avgas, it just says you have 0% fuel availability and no one will buy it. I'm not done yet. I'm looking at a 264% desirability in Grand Touring Premium. I'm going to get that number even higher because it is going to get hammered once newer competitor cars come out. But clicking to compare, we have all of our normal stats up here, and down here are special stats, which are optional stats that can be attached to a market. In this case, not all markets directly care about smoothness, or top speed, or 0 to 60 time, but Grand Touring does. Now this is something we can take advantage of. That focus slider, the difficulty settings, means that they care more about these stats than they would in a normal game. So if we can min-max those, we'll get an advantage over the AI cars. Top speed and acceleration are pretty straightforward, just need better power and aero. Smoothness is basically better the more cylinders your engine has, with a V12 being the most smooth engine you can make in the base game. If we decrease the stroke and increase the bottom end weight and bottom end quality, which is like 0 in this case, it gets even smoother. Now, of course, with 50% more engineering time and our negative tech pool, engineering time is a huge problem. For every quality category, I'm hoping to keep it at 0, which is already the equivalent of a +4 for us. But I'm watching these engineering months as I change it a little bit and seeing if we need to save a lot of time by going down or leave it where it is. Don't forget that the vector addition means that the single biggest categories have the biggest effect. But the main moral of the story is, because of the high difficulty of the game, and that focus slider also reinforces this, we need to super specifically focus on one market and make the perfect car for them. We can't spread our desirability around multiple markets as easily. Our car needs to be perfect to get picked over the other cars in any one market, and doing that in multiple markets at the same time is even harder. When I'm all done, we're at 324% desirability in our target market of Grand Touring Premium. It says we're doing well in these other markets, we're probably going to be priced out of them entirely. We're going to sell this for a lot of money. So that's the kind of thing I'm aiming for when I start at this difficulty. Of course, that desirability is going to go down after engineering, because we're going to have to cut some corners. The market preview screen estimates we can sell a few cars at a price of $60,000 or $50,000, which is probably what we're going to be aiming for. Now, because of that negative tech pool and the multiplier on engineering time, that's going to take us 5 years to build this car as is, even after 36-month production for your first car. Obviously, that's just not acceptable. It's also cost us $8 million to engineer, and we'll never get that money. So let me screw up all these sliders. Alright, with something like that, we have the car to come out in 9 months at an engineering cost of $300,000, and it's going to be more expensive and less reliable by a lot than it would have been baseline. And repeat that process for the engine. The game is offering me to build an engine factory on my plot of land, but I can't afford that. We're outsourcing it, at a cost of $9,000 almost per unit. The best thing to do in a miniature factory is to just max out these sliders. Automation and tooling quality, they cost you almost nothing. Then, since we only have 23 people working here with maximum automation, we can increase our worker quality We increase our wages some, it doesn't matter much. 3 months to hire 1 shift of workers? That's fine. We'll be lucky if we're running this factory at 1 shift consistently. It's probably going to be less. And the forecaster seems to be showing the best results at around $60,000 price. We're going to take out the biggest loan the bank will give us because we need to cover our operating costs and run that out to, I don't know, 80 months. And then we go to finances down here, where we can also take out another loan. Let's see, an $800,000 loan to pay off in 5 years? Yes, please. We also need to start marketing immediately. We're going to go for that smoothness stat. Maybe top speed? That doesn't do much. Yeah, top speed and smoothness only. Will be most efficient for us right now, or that's my estimate. Gain a lot of awareness and Grand Touring Premium in Deluha. We're not even marketing our own country because we don't sell cars that run on the gas here. As you can see, that first loan is going to pay out month by month during the project, but the loan we took out separately pays out all in front. And we are losing money month on month. So if we didn't take out that extra loan, we've immediately got a near bankruptcy loan that happens automatically, and those are not on as good terms. Now, watching it tick by month, we are barely profitable with fluctuating sales numbers. But our cash reserve is growing. With $2 million in the bank, we're now in a much stronger position than we were in when we started the game in 1946. I would call that a successful start. There's a lot that I could do from here, but what I've done already is proven that it's possible to pull this off. We're playing at 100 times difficulty multiplier, we're selling cars, we have money in the bank. We're in the game. Last time I made a serious attempt at this, I did go bankrupt in the 60s when I tried to expand too fast, and also had to deal with emissions. That one's especially nasty because we have an unlock year that's 4 years behind. That means that when we get to emissions, you will not get catalytic converters on time. Even the basic exhaust reactor would only unlock in 1969. That means we'll be forced to tune engines without a cat to pass emissions, which makes them very miserable. We also have to watch out because we're on an old body here with a year of 1937 design. The body age penalty is going to come in that much sooner and force us to start building a new car, which will itself be stale as soon as it hits the shelves. For our facelift, we can go for a supercharger. See that they really like that, because there's a big prestige bonus immediately just on adding a supercharger. Not to mention that they directly care about stuff like top speed. But even with garbage quality tech and better competitors, it's possible to keep this thing competitive. Actually, so far it's looking better than my previous attempt at this, where I was kind of struggling to get over 100% at all. Now it's 1948 and we're still at 200%. Which is to say, it's considered a great car, even though we have negative quality sliders. Pretty impressive for a premium market like this. Now, of course, there's other ways to set up your 100 times difficulty start as well. In Archana, we can also start with cash. $5 million requires a tech offset of about -4. You can go back up in a couple areas and have it stay at 100, but pretty close to there. And that's not impossible to start with either. Although I'd rather have more base tech and less starting cash, probably. This will make it easier to go all the way to a small factory or a tiny 3 factory when you start off, and aim for a larger market. But what if we want to start in Gasmea? the company with the lowest difficulty multiplier and the biggest market to sell to. Well, there is a strategy for that as well. Well, I'm not sure if I give myself enough starting land here, but you can hit 100 times at about a -7 to -8 technology multiplier with one small land plot. This lets us take out a $1.4 million loan. Yeah, I think we can try that. Now, what I was told that the easiest to do is to aim for delivery or pickups. Believe it or not, even though we have a tiny factory, for our truck it'll still be an aluminum body, heavy-duty ladder. But this time, we're going for solid axles. And a lot of negative quality. This is going to dump all of our stats. We'll make a little bit up for it by actually using a high reliability slider on the engineering, which is something that these markets care about a lot. Well, I designed that. I'm sitting only at 60% desirability. I don't know if I chose the wrong body or what, but that's what I can come up with. We'll see if I don't go bankrupt immediately. I fiddled the sliders of this out in 12 months with a slight reliability bonus, only a small one. In Gasmea, we can max out the worker quality slider for our tiny factory, and still cut wages and get enough people to hire. Yeah, it's telling me I've done this wrong. Well, I'll just do it and go bankrupt. Since it's for delivery, we'll mark it entirely on the basis of cargo volume, which will be most cost effective. Once the vehicle's out, I was really worried it was not good enough and too expensive, but we are seeing sales. We're seeing a profit. And then we caught with pre-orders, and we are scraping by, basically breaking even on money. Yeah, little profit? Okay. So this is semi-viable. It's going better than I thought it would. I didn't even bother to put a paint color on this thing, so I was pretty sure I was going to go bankrupt. They didn't have to cut this bit. Or just show me going bankrupt, either way. But there it is. That proves it's also possible to start the game aiming down market, even with a tiny factory. You do need that larger loan for at least a tiny factory that costs $1.5 million and not a miniature factory. But it's possible to sell trucks and delivery vans on this scale, because they're simple enough. If you max out your factory sliders, you can still make a little bit of volume even though your factory doesn't have a lot of workers. Yeah, don't let the name Heavy Delivery fool you. I've scaled the engine down by drastically underboring and understroking it to 1.1 liters. I like that a lot more. Yes, that's right, with 33 horsepower. I think reliability is kind of the only thing they care about. In fact, yeah, they say they love an engine with 30 horsepower. Supposedly this is going to carry about 1 ton of max load. I don't know about getting around with 1 ton of cargo and 30 horsepower, but sure. Oh yeah. Even none safety had too much engineering time. I think it's down to -3. I imagine that none safety at -3 quality means, like, you can cut your hand on the door handles or something. Hey, re-engineering? I can get the price of the car down a little bit, and I get a factory expansion. I can get enough loan for it. Once again, that is getting off the ground. And yes, that's my factory, maxed out at 2 shifts, with months of pre-orders, and a profit of over 100K a month. So from there, I think you can imagine you can get enough money to keep expanding your factories and build bigger vans. I'm not sure if you have any chance of going outside of the van segment with -7 tech pool, but hey, it's an option. And that is how you can run a campaign at 100 times difficulty. Don't feel bad if it doesn't go smoothly for your first couple tries. I had a lot of attempts that went bankrupt before I felt ready to make this video. As of right now, it really feels like there's certain markets and certain countries you can target that work, and certain ones that just don't. For example, you would think that targeting luxury in Deluha makes a lot of sense, but I wasn't able to pull it off. That said, given some time, I'm sure that people will prove me wrong, and you'll find that it's actually possible to target almost any market if you know exactly how to do it. As of right now, though, I don't. However, I was able to make a good amount of money selling this truly awful car to wealthy people with no taste. If you decide to try it yourself, let me know how it goes in the comments. Jesus Christ, this thing sucks.